Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Chapter 12, Devotional Service, text number 5, page 545. Klesho Dictatoras Desam Avyakta Sakta Cetasam Vyakta Hi Gatir Sukam Dehambabir Avapyate Klesho adiktas tarisam Vyaktas ta shetasam Avyakta hi gatir dukam Deyavadbir apapyate Klesha trouble Aditara very much they some of them Vyakta to the unmanifested Sakta attached to some those whose minds Vyakta toward the unmanifested. He certainly Gati progress will come with trouble. Deha Vidayabi is by the embodied. About Yate is achieved. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. We can repeat. Everyone can repeat together. Om Arganath Ramdasya Saksulitam Jaina Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Murakadamayam Vandeham Srita Parakamalam Sirupam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Krishna Padam Sagana Laita Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Vigapare Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorange Shabanu Panchakobi Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita
Shivasari Gaura Bhakta.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Hare.
Translation once again. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest impersonal feature, the supreme advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So we'll go through this purport paragraph by paragraph, and this is a 3-page purport. And Srila Prabhupada, as usual, makes it very clear. Arjuna is asking the question at the beginning of the chapter, which is considered most perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service will to worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Purport. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis. Persons who are in full Krishna consciousness, engaged in devotional service to the Lord, are called bhakti-yogis. Now, here the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is troublesome.
Very troublesome.
It is very troublesome. Whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of God, is easier as natural for the embodied soul. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It's very difficult for him to simply directly understand that he's not the body. Therefore, the Bhakti Yoga accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna. The supreme processing or not processing, supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities. But the formal Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. So one time, Advaita Acharya, who's Mahavishnu, but he was senior to Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He didn't like the fact Lord Chaitanya was giving him so much respect. So Advaita Acharya started preaching this Shakira Bhasha, this Mayavadi philosophy, or this impersonal philosophy. Then Lord Chaitanya came to Advaita Acharya's house and said, Acharya, which is better, Gyan or Bhakti? And Advaita Acharya said, Gyan is superior to Bhakti, because without empiric knowledge, you can't practice Bhakti. So Lord Chaitanya didn't like that answer. And he became extremely angry and started beating the Acharya, who was an old man. His wife came and said, "Stop, stop, you're going to kill him, he's an old man." But Acharya was very happy that he accomplished his goal, and he got the mercy of the Lord, because he took the subordinate position to Lord Chaitanya. So this is what is being described here. There are two processes, direct and indirect. If you go to the Empire State Building, it has 100 floors or more, you can walk up the stairs. If you want to go to the 100th floor, you can walk up the stairs, and that will take you all day. And by the time you get to the office, they say we're closed, come back tomorrow. But you can take the elevator and get there in 10 minutes. So you walk up the stairs, that's the indirect process. If you take the elevator, that's the direct process. And of course, walking up the stairs is very troublesome. It takes a long time. If you take the elevator, there's no trouble. It's very easy. The Prabhupada gives this example. So here, the Jnana Yogi, the definition of a Jnana Yogi is one who follows the path of speculative knowledge for spiritual realization and of the absolute truth. So there are Jnanis who try to speculate about the absolute truth and try to understand the absolute truth by speculative method. But they're not Mayavadis. There are different groups of people. There's the Brahmavadis, the monists who know about Brahman, and there's the Mayavadis who say Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya. The material world is, everything is Brahman and the material world is false. And they think that the Lord, when He comes in the material world, when Lord Krishna came, that He accepts a material body. So the Mayavadis, they're offenders. And Prakasananda Saraswati was the leader of the Mayavadis in Benares. And Lord Chaitanya said, I've given him leprosy, but he doesn't know why. Because he's an offender. And the Mayavadis say that the Lord cannot have hands, cannot have legs, cannot have eyes, cannot have ears, cannot have a nose, cannot have a mouth. In other words, they say the Lord is dumb, deaf, lame, all these things. So they're offenders. But then there's the Brahmavadis, or the monists, who may have come to Brahman realization, but they're not offenders. They just don't know about Paramatma and Bhagavan realization. An example of that was Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami was in the womb of his mother for 12 years. He was Brahman realized. He didn't want to come out of the body, come out of the womb, because he thought he would get entangled in material life. So they didn't know what to do. So Krishna came there and spoke to Sukadeva Goswami and told him, you can come out now. You won't get entangled in material life. So he came out of the body by some mystic power, and he was already grown up, 12 years old or 16 years old. And as soon as he came out of the womb, he left the home and went to the forest. And then, when he was in the forest, he heard one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, came back to his home and heard the whole Bhagavatam from his father, Vyasadeva, and became a bhakta. Same way, the four Kumaras, they were also Brahman realized, but when they went to Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu, they got the darshan of Lord Vishnu. When they smelled the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they had a change of heart, and they became Vaishnavas. And also the 9 Yogendras, who are the sons of Lord Rishabdev. Rishabdev had 100 sons. 81 were Brahmins, 9 of them became Paramahansas, the 9 Yogendras, and 10 of them were Kshatriyas, or rulers, kings. So they also were impersonalists, Brahman realized, and when they got instruction from Lord Brahma and Narada Muni, they changed and became Vaishnavas. So in this way, the Brahmavadis, the monists, and those who are only Brahman realized, they can become Vaishnavas if they're not offensive. But their path, it's explained here, that their path is very troublesome because they take the risk of not actually acquiring the goal. They have to learn the language, which means they have to learn Sanskrit, which is difficult to understand, and they whole conclusion, the Mayavadi impersonalists, the path is very troublesome. And because they can't fix their mind on anything tangible, and their hope for knowledge is baffled. It says in the Bhagavad-Gita that Abjanti Mamura Manasim Tama Ashritam Pram Baba Adanato Mama Baba Bhakta Maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all and be. Those that thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac atheistic views, and that deluded condition, their hope for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their cultural knowledge are all defeated. So that's the position of the impersonalists. They take the troublesome path, but it's not, they don't get any satisfaction. Brahman realization is compared to the drop of the water in a calf's hoofprint. The water in a calf's hoofprint is the happiness they get from Brahman realization is like the amount of water in a calf's hoofprint compared to the 10 million times more bliss or ananda you get from personal realization. So the Mayavadis, they only have Sat Chit, eternal knowledge, but no real ananda. And even if you rise up, it says that even if one rises up to the Brahman platform, they are Vishuktamaninas, because their intelligence is not clear and they haven't taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, they can fall back into the material world, even from Brahman realization. So this is the difference between Jnana yogis and bhakti yogis. So the bhakti yogi is the living, is a linking process with the Supreme through devotional service. And Prabhupada says, it's easy and natural for the embodied soul. So, he's saying that through devotional service, through the worship of the deity, here described about deity worship, how deity worship is not idol worship. And Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Lord. And it's convenient for people to come to the temple and worship the deity and get a develop some bhakti. It says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj was questioned by his father. We're reading that in the Bhagavatam class. What was the best thing he learned from his teachers? Because Hiranyakashipu sent Prahlad Maharaj to school to learn about politics and about friends and enemies. But Prahlad Maharaj wasn't interested in hearing these things because he was instructed by Narada Muni in the womb and was a pure devotee of Krishna. So when his father asked him what the best he learned from his teachers, he said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Shakya Atmani Nivedanam, Iti Pumsa Pita Vashno, Bhakti Che Nava Lakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavati Ada Tanmaye Ditam Uttamam. Prahlad Maharaj said that hearing, chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, pastimes of the Lord, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So Prabhupada said you can practice one or any of these processes or all of these processes, but if you become perfect in even one of these processes, you can become a pure devotee. So the deity worship in the temple should never be considered idol worship. If someone thinks the deity is made of stone or wood, then he has a hellish mentality. Or if you consider the spiritual master to be an ordinary man, you also have a hellish mentality. So here it says, a crude example may be given here. We may find some mailbox on the street. Of course, nowadays everyone uses email. You don't see too many mailboxes, but it still exists. But when Prabhupada wrote this, there was no email. It was only post office. And Prabhupada did all his communication through letters. He didn't like the telephone. One time, they bought in New York, they got a telephone for Srila Prabhupada. They paid $40 and they got the telephone the next day. So Prabhupada was surprised because in India at that time, you had to pay, you had to bribe everyone. It took 2 years to get a telephone, and then it didn't work. You'd make a call from here to Bombay or Mayapur. It took 2 hours to make a call, and you couldn't hear the person on the other end. The phone didn't even work in India, but the phone worked in America. But so they got Prabhupada a phone, and then one night at 12 o'clock, somebody called Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, how are you? And Prabhupada replied, is this the time to inquire? He said, this telephone is a disturbance, get it out, take it out. So Prabhupada did all his communication through letters, and mostly, he hardly ever, once in a while, he may have talked on the telephone. But anyway, this example here of the post office. We might find some mailbox on the street, and if we post our letters in these boxes, they will naturally go to the destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which we may find somewhere but which is not authorized by the post office will not do the work. Similarly, God is the authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept service through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful. Therefore, by his incarnation, the Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditioned life. So one time a class came to the temple and the teacher asked the question. He said, if you had a fire in the temple, would the deity not burn? You say the deity is spiritual. If you have a fire in the temple, will the deity burn also? So, of course, he was thinking of his idol worship. It was a challenging question. But I gave him the same answer, that it's like the mailbox. The mailbox represents the post office. If the mailbox is broken and can't be used, it doesn't mean that the post office stops operating. Or if you get any box and you just write mailbox on it, that won't work either. But the mailbox that is authorized by the government, if you put your letter in the mailbox, then you're certain that your letter will get to its destination. So in the same way, the Lord appears in this form, Archa Vigraha, by the process Pran Pratishtha. When we open a temple, we install the deity of the Lord by the process of Pran Pratishtha. We call the Lord to enter into that form. So the Lord can enter into that form and he can withdraw himself from that form. It's not permanent, it's a temporary form, but it's also spiritual, such as on the Vigraha form of the Lord, and he accepts our service. Bhatram puspam paloto yam yome bhakta prayatati. So, according to our devotion, Krishna will accept our form and our worship. We know that Gadadhar Pandit became so old, he couldn't work, he took a vow of Kshatriya sannyas to always remain in Jagannath Puri and serve the Total Gopinath deity. But after Lord Chaitanya left the planet, he got arthritis and he was very sick. And he couldn't dress the deity, and he couldn't reach the deity to put a garland on the deity. So the deity, Total Gopinath, seeing his condition, and sat down for him.
Who is this?
Total Gopinath.
No, which devotee?
Radhar Pandit.
Gadadhar Pandit.
So, and also we hear about Madhavinda Puri and the Gopal deity and the witness, and we hear about the witness deity in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how the deity can reciprocate with his devotee. But Premendana Trita Bhakti Vilochanena, one must have the eyes tinged with the salve of love. If you have love and devotion, then deity reciprocate is there. We see in Mangalartik and all the different temple programs, people gather there, come to the program because they like to see the deity and worship the deity. They have some sakriti from past life, or they have some punya from this life, or somehow or other, they're attracted to the deity form of the Lord. And that's what's described here, that this is easier to understand than the impersonal feature. The symbol is this sound Om is the impersonal manifestation of Supreme Lord. So we know it's the same as the Maha Mantra, but we don't chant 16 rounds of Om. So in Kali Yuga, of course, the Yuga Dharma is chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was temple worship. But we are also doing temple worship in this age to help us to stay pure, to stay in the mode of goodness. So it's necessary that everybody perform sadhana bhakti, attend the morning program, Mangalarti, Darshanarti, class, Guru Puja. All these things are necessary to keep us strong in Krishna consciousness, to keep us from falling into Maya. But it's not difficult. We get some pleasure from it. When we're seeing the deity dressed nicely with so much jewelry and flowers and everything, very wonderful. But Prabhupada said we shouldn't buy valuable jewelry for the deities. In Dwapara Yuga, they could do opulent deity worship. But in Kali Yuga, if you buy valuable jewelry, then someone will come, thieves will come. They'll invite thieves. And we had practical experience with people come stealing the deity's paraphernalia, that silver plate or silver shoes, or sometimes even people steal the deity. In some places, they stole the deity thinking that they were made of gold. But when they found out they weren't, they threw them in the garbage. So it's not that the Lord is not there. He's there, but he can withdraw himself at any time. It's like if there's an earthquake or some natural disaster, the deity may get broken. In New Zealand, the Gornitai deity, they worshipped for 25 years, it got broken at the time of an earthquake. So Krishna didn't get broken. Krishna is still Krishna, but the deity manifestation is no longer present in that form. But they can replace that with another deity of Gornitai. It was Gornitai deity, so they replaced it with another deity. And by Prampatista calling the Lord, they continue the worship. So for a devotee, there's no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly. But for those who follow the impersonal way to spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literatures as the Upanishad. It says in the 8th verse of the Sri Upanishad, such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated. The self-written philosopher has been filling everyone's desire since time immemorial. So the Mayavadis and persons may interpret that verse in a different way, but we know that the Lord's body is Satchidananda, so he's unembodied, he's omniscient, beyond reproach, he's without veins, pure and uncontaminated. And when Krishna was on the planet 5,000 years ago, his body, he had a Satchidananda body, and he grew up to 16 and never got older than that. And on the Battle of Kurukshetra, he took the position of a chariot driver of Arjuna. And when Bhishma Dev was going to kill Arjuna was in trouble. Krishna protected him, and the arrows were shot into Krishna's body. He accepted them like accepting a lotus flower garland, a garland of lotus flowers. So it may appear that Krishna had a material body, and when he left the world, he sat down under a banyan tree, and the hunter came and thought he saw a deer, which was actually Krishna's foot. And he shot his arrow and pierced Krishna's foot, and then Krishna left the world. So this was just to bewilder the Mayavadis, the atheists, the impersonalists, thinking that Krishna had a material form, but it was all arrangement of Yoga Maya. So They have to understand the unmanifested representation stream through the Vedic literatures as the Upanishad, and they have to learn the language, understand the non-perceptual feelings and realization of these processes. This is talking about the impersonalists, the difficulties they have to go through. This is not very easy for a common man. A person in Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service simply by the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regular obeisances unto the deities, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of food and stuff offered to the Lord, realizes the Supreme Personality guided very easily. That's why the Hare Krishna movement, we're known as the kitchen religion. And some devotees got arrested and had to go to court. And when the judge saw that the people were devotees who were the charges against the devotees, he said, well, these people, they fed me prasadam when I was going to school. So case dismissed. So prasadam is our secret weapon for people who don't want to become devotees, but at least they can take the prasadam of the Lord and get purified. And hearing the glories of the Lord, we do that every day. So there's no doubt that the impersonalists are necessary to take a troublesome path with risk of not realizing the absolute truth as the ultimate end. But the personalists, without risk, trouble, or difficulty, approach the Supreme Personality God directly. A similar passage appeared in Srimad Bhagavatam. It stated that if one ultimately has to surrender unto the Supreme Personality Godhead, this surrender process is called bhakti. Bhakti mama vijananti. Krishna says only by devotional service can I be understood. But instead it takes the trouble to understand what is Brahman, what is not Brahman, and spend his whole life in that way, the result is very troublesome. They say neti, neti, not this, not that. And ultimately, everything is Brahman or spiritual. But it's a troublesome path, and it doesn't get you any farther than Brahman realization or emerging into the Brahma Yoti. Therefore, it advised here that one should not take up this troublesome path of self-realization because there's uncertainty in the ultimate result. A living entity is eternally an individual soul. If he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspect of his original nature, but the blissful portion is not realized. So it says again here that those who worship the impersonal feature, Sat-Chit, but there's no Ananda, they don't get the same bliss or same pleasure that the bhakti-yogis get. They can realize they're eternal and they can have some knowledge, but they can't get the same amount of pleasure that one gets from devotional service. By the grace of the same devotee, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of jnana yoga, may come to the point of bhakti yoga or devotional service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble because he cannot give up the idea. Therefore, embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifested, both at the time of practice and the time of realization. Every living soul is particularly independent, and one should know for certain that this unmanifested realization is against the nature of a spiritual blissful life. One should not take up this process. For every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness entails full engagement in devotional service is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there's a danger of returning to atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifest, inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, is already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Lord Krishna. Tadvidi paripratena paripusena sevaya upidas gyanti gyanas tasva tafa darshanaha. That Bhagavad-Gita says, one must approach the spiritual master, inquire from his mystery, and render service unto him. He can impart knowledge unto you, because he's seen the truth. For people who want to follow the impersonal path, because they don't have the proper spiritual master. And we know that Lord Buddha came and at the time when people were using the Vedas to slaughter animals, animal slaughter was going on. To stop animal slaughter, he took the people away from Vedas. Then Shankaracharya was sent, it was Lord Shiva, by the Lord, to preach Mayavadi philosophy, to bring people back to the Vedas. But Lord Shiva knows that wasn't the absolute truth. So when Lord Chaitanya met the Mayavadis at Benares, Prakasananda Saraswati, and his 60,000 disciples, they explained their philosophy to Lord Chaitanya. Then Lord Chaitanya gave he said, your philosophy is like the clouds that cover the sun. Shankaracharya is giving his philosophy, but it's simply imaginary. And it has not the real truth. The Lord Chaitanya told them the actual meaning of Vedanta Sutra, and that the process of devotional service and the Supreme Lord has a form, that devotional service was the best way. And they agreed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, well, we are followers of Shankaracharya, so we're following the party line, but we know that this philosophy is imaginary and not giving the absolute truth. So they all became Vaishnavas. So in this way, people are misguided, misdirected, in Kali Yuga especially, so many bhogi yogis and different kinds of yogis and gurus who are speaking Mayavadi philosophy, and people are accepting them as their guru, but they're misguiding the people. Kaitava Dharma, or cheating religion, misguiding people, and don't tell people about the absolute truth or the process of devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada went to America when they ordered his Guru Maharaj to introduce the process of devotional service, not any other process. Even when he was at the ashram of Dr. Misra was a Mayavadi impersonalist, and after Prabhupada spoke a couple times, Dr. Misra wouldn't let Prabhupada speak anymore because he probably was afraid of losing his followers or losing his income for some reason or another. But Prabhupada didn't preach to Dr. Misra or try to convert him to Vaishnavism, but he didn't stay there either. But so this is going on all over the world, especially in America. There's so many people that impersonalists give the wrong conclusion about spiritual life, and they teach you to pay some money and you can become God in 6 months, or to sit in meditation and sit and think of nothing. Of course, thinking of nothing is thinking of something. So you can't really ever do that. You can't think of nothing because you're always thinking of something. The mind is always active. You can't stop the mind from thinking, feeling, and willing. Except even when you're sleeping, the mind is active. So we dream. So we are embodied living as we're conditioned living in. And Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that there's two kinds of living entities, the fallible, infallible. In the material world, everyone is fallible. And in the spiritual world, everyone is infallible. Fallible means that we have to take a body, Deinosmin yatade kumaram yavinam jara, yatade antara paptir, ira tatra namuyate, from boyhood to youth to old age. Then we, at the time of death, we have to again take another body. So it's like when the embodied soul goes from one body to another, it's like the air carrying the aroma. It's a very subtle process which we can't perceive. But it's not that the soul stops existing or the life force stops existing at the time of death. Now you go, according to your karma, according to your activities in this life, you go and you receive another body in your next life, and this process continues. The cycle of repeated birth and death. So this is the nature, the material world. All living entities, the Brahma, Bhuva, and Loka, from up to Lord Brahma to all insignificant, all 8,400,000 species of life are embodied in the material world in different bodily forms and have to suffer according to their activities. But in the spiritual world, everybody's infallible. Because everything there is Satchidananda. Every word is a song. Every step is a dance. Everything is pure and clean. No one speaks unpleasant words. Everything's Satchidananda, Chintamani, Prakamashu, Kopaviksha. Everything's Chintamani. Even the gopis are afraid that Krishna is going to hurt his feet when he goes to the forest to herd the cows. But in the spiritual world, the ground is made of foam and the thorns are made of rubber, so Krishna can't actually hurt his feet. So there's no modes in nature, there's no Maya there, there's no, the living entity is in a permanent condition in the spiritual world, always in Satchidananda, eternal knowledge and full of bliss, and engage in the eternal service of Lord. Service, not not impersonal. Our philosophy is a personal philosophy to develop our loving service. Prema Pumartha Mohan. This is the goal of the Krishna consciousness movement, to develop our love for God. So we have to understand that God has a form, and God is a person, and He appears in a deity form for our benefit, so we can have some form to meditate upon and serve. So this is a personal philosophy, personal religion. And they asked Srila Prabhupada why he came to America. They said there's so many religions in America, why have you come to introduce another religion? But Prabhupada said, I didn't come to introduce another religion. I just came to teach people how to love God. So any religion that teaches people how to love God, that is a real religion. So Prabhupada came to teach us what is what and who is who. So no mistake that we are Jivara Swarupai, Krishnara Nityadas, but that we're the servants, eternal servants of Krishna. We can, at no time can we become Krishna. We're these individual living entities, and in the conditioned state, we're always fallible, and in the liberated state, we're always engaged in loving service of Krishna in the different rasas, Dasarat, Shankaras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. In this way, that we can have a loving relationship with the Lord, with God. And Prabhupada made it clear in Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. His philosophy becomes very clear if we spend the time to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Satapasha means reading for 1 hour a day, Srila Prabhupada's books and purports. In this way, we'll not be confused or be deviated by Mayavadi philosophy. Most people in India are think that everything is one, and ultimately, well, we all become one. But that you never become one. We're always individual, and we always are the servants of Krishna. We never at any time we merge into the existence. We never lose our identity as eternal spirit soul. So Prabhupada, the two paths are there: Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But the best path is Krishna conscious Bhakti Yoga. So by performing Bhakti Yoga, you don't have to become Brahman realized. You don't need Paramatma realization, but Bhagavan realization is all included. Everything is there when you realize that Krishna is tu Bhagavan Sayam. Krishna's Bhagavan means one who has all six opulences in full. So by practicing Krishna consciousness, if you have full faith in the Guru and Krishna, then everything will be revealed to you, and you'll understand your identity as a servant of the Supreme Lord. So our time is finished.